Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, there's no way God could use someone like me? Have you ever felt like your past disqualifies your future, like your weaknesses are louder than your calling? Then you're not alone, because that's exactly where Moses began. He wasn't a man of confidence or perfection. He was broken, flawed, uncertain, and yet chosen. And so are you. This message isn't just a story from ancient history. It's a reminder for right now. God still calls ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Moses went from a fugitive in the desert to a deliverer of millions, not because he had power, but because he had faith. Not because he was fearless, but because he chose to follow the God who parts seas. So if you're tired, doubting, or stuck at your own Red Sea, listen closely. The God who called Moses is calling you. And today, we'll walk through his story to find the courage to walk in ours. Have you ever felt unqualified, overwhelmed, like your past disqualify you from your purpose? Then let me introduce you to Moses, the man God chose to part seas, confront kings and lead a nation, yet who once ran away in fear, doubted his calling, and begged God to send someone else. Moses wasn't born in a palace, he was placed in one by divine design. His life started with danger, wrapped in a basket, hidden on the Nile. But when the world says you don't belong, God says, I've got a plan. Even as a baby, Moses was marked by destiny. He was raised in royalty, but his heart burned for his people. Deep inside, there was a fire that said, this isn't right. I was made for more. That fire cost him everything. He lost his position, ran into the wilderness, and became a shepherd in obscurity. 40 years. That's how long Moses wandered in the wilderness, forgotten by people but not forgotten by God. Because delay is not denial. When the time was right, God appeared in a burning bush and said, Moses, I'm not finished with you. Moses had excuses. I'm not good enough. I can't speak. What if they don't believe me? Sound familiar? But God didn't choose Moses because he was perfect. He chose him because he was available. Passion isn't about confidence. It's about obedience. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's trusting God even when you're afraid. Moses stood before Pharaoh with nothing but a stick and a word from God. And with that, he called down plagues, challenged oppression, and demanded, let my people go. When you feel small, remember this. God's power shows up in weakness. Moses didn't need to be eloquent, he just needed to be willing. And when he obeyed, miracles happened. Rivers turned to blood, frogs, fire, and freedom came with every step of faith. But the journey wasn't easy. After Pharaoh finally let Israel go, Moses faced a sea with nowhere to turn. Behind him, an army. Before him, an impossible wall of water. And yet, he didn't give up. He lifted his staff, and God split the sea. That's what happens when passion meets obedience. When faith overrides fear, God moves. The impossible becomes a pathway. The Red Sea becomes dry ground. And the same God who made a way for Moses can make a way for you. Are you stuck between a Pharaoh and a sea? Don't panic, press on. What feels like the end might just be the beginning. Don't give up at the shoreline. Don't quit in pressure. Lift your hands, speak the promise, and watch God part the waters. Moses led a nation, but he also dealt with complaints, rebellion, and setbacks. Even miracle after miracle the people doubted, but Moses didn't let their fear stop his focus. He pressed on. Why? Because true leadership isn't popularity, it's perseverance. There were moments Moses was tired, moments he asked God to take his life. Yes, even giants of faith grow weary, but the secret wasn't in his strength, it was in his connection. Every time he entered the tent of meeting, God renewed him. Do you have a tent? A place where you meet with God? That's where power is born. That's where you remember your why. Passion fades without presence, but in God's presence, your courage returns, your vision sharpens, your soul stands up again. Moses climbed mountains, not just physically but spiritually. He sought God's glory when others sought comfort. He fasted, prayed, and stood in the gap for people who didn't always appreciate him. That's focus. That's love. That's leadership. When others made idols, Moses sought intimacy. When the people gave up, Moses pressed in. When they settled for less, Moses saw the promised land. Passion pushes past pressure. Faith sees what others can't. Moses saw what was invisible because he listened to the voice of the Eternal. Even when Moses struck the rock in frustration and missed out on entering Canaan, God didn't cancel his legacy. That's grace. Even in failure, Moses remained a friend of God, a prophet like no other. You're not disqualified by one mistake. God still writes your story. And that story, it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey, about choosing trust every day, about standing firm even when your knees shake, about believing the voice that called you is greater than the chaos around you. So don't give up. Don't back down. When you feel forgotten, remember Moses in the wilderness. When you feel unqualified, remember his stutter. When you feel too old, remember he was 80 when God called him. Age doesn't limit God, faith unleashes him. Your Red Sea is not your end. Your desert is not your grave. Your fear is not your master. Stand firm, keep walking. God is not done with you yet. There's a generation waiting on your obedience. Moses didn't part the sea for himself. He did it for a nation. Your faith isn't just about you. Your breakthrough unlocks someone else's freedom. Focus is refusing to be distracted by doubt. Passion is choosing to believe when everything screams otherwise. And faith? It's standing on the edge of the impossible and saying, God, I trust you anyway. Let this be your burning bush moment. Let the fire of purpose wake you up again. You were not made to drift. You were made to lead, to shine, to move forward with boldness and grace. Your staff may just be a stick, but in God's hand, it becomes a symbol of power. Your voice may tremble, but God still speaks through it. Your past may be broken, but grace rebuilds every shattered piece. Like Moses, you are not forgotten. You are called. You are chosen. You are equipped. Heaven sees you. And if God is with you, no Pharaoh, no Red Sea, no wilderness can stop you. The world needs your fire. The church needs your voice. The lost need your leadership. Don't hide in the desert. Step into your calling. Passion is not noise, it's consistency. It's faith in the fire. It's courage in the wilderness. It's worship with lifted hands when all you have is manna. And friend, God honors that. So rise like Moses, lead like Moses, believe like Moses. Keep showing up, keep trusting God. And when the moment comes to lift your staff and split your sea, don't hesitate. Step forward and let the waters part. Moses' story didn't end in the wilderness, it echoed into eternity. He wasn't remembered for his stutter, his failure, or his frustration. He was remembered as the man who stood before kings, split seas, met with God face to face, and refused to give up. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to say yes. God didn't ask Moses for perfection. He asked for trust. And with that trust, nations were changed. Now it's your turn. There's a burning bush with your name on it, a Red Sea waiting to part, a generation waiting to be led, and a God who says, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Joshua 1:5. Don't stay on the sidelines of your calling. Rise, move, speak, believe. The world needs your fire, and heaven is backing you. Your Moses moment is now. Let the angels rejoice over you today. Pray, Jesus, save me. I turn from my sin and believe in you. Let heaven rejoice as I give you my life. Amen. If you prayed that, comment, yes, I'm answering the call. share this message, visit ourlum.com and subscribe to our channel for more worship-filled, revelation-packed content that lifts your heart to heaven.